Welcome to the Dice Box and Tombstone Blues. They are a bunch of weird Wild West misfits are in a farmstead at the edge of a town in the wastes with a capital W, which apparently is being taken over by like death cultists or something stupid. They seem to think that the whole ghost rock nastiness that technically was the result of massive rituals telling the white man to go fuck themselves, but never mind. Is God rewriting the world in his new image, which is not impressing anybody, particularly not the person who gets the most shit for being partially part of the peoples who they blame for this in the first place. Although I'm pretty sure that there's more to it than... I'm pretty sure there was more to the ghost dance than that, but maybe we'll get to that someday. Probably. Given where you are. That could be fun. Anyway, thoughts for later. For right now, you guys have been planning a sneaky peek at the town in general. Reba has some ideas about initial scouting. And I don't know if you guys are going to be at the edge of town or if you're just going to wait at the farmstead, which isn't that far away. So, there's still some... There's just not much cover is the problem between town and roads and things. There's a couple of back roads, but you don't know what's stalking out there. So your options are find a place that's relatively out of the way and hope, particularly with whatever creepy shit is causing people to go missing, and the reason why they have, like, wildlife nailed to their doors. Or Reba can go in as Owl on her own and come back with some kind of report. So that's your all's choice, because Louis is basically, I'm gonna go with you all, because honestly, I probably shouldn't be going in on my own. I don't want to put you all in any kind of more danger than you're already going to put yourselves in, but this is my kid. So maybe a bit of a restraint is a good idea.
Well, I can change more than once, but each one only lasts about an hour. So unless I can find myself a spot where I can do it and do it again, it's an hour.
How
Well,
far?
I got to get there and get back.
How far of a flight do you reckon it is if you start at the farmstead?
10
Turns
minute,
to Louis.
10-minute. Well, you're good
No.
with that kind of thing.
It's true.
As the owl flies, because they're kind of faster than humans on foot, and they don't have to follow roads. 10 minutes max.
Yeah. So she kind of looks at the sky and looks toward where town would be, and probably 10 minutes. 10 minutes, no later than 10, or no longer than 10 minutes there and 10 minutes back. That would give me about, call it 30 minutes to look around.
If you landed on a rooftop, I think you would have a better chance of shifting back.
If I have to.
And then into the owl again.
If I have to.
Being spotted.
Yeah, if I have to.
Well, isn't the whole point of her going in on her own as an owl that she's going to look with the sight of an owl that's not, that can see in the dark, look around the place? And it's only going to take us, 15 minutes to walk to town. So she goes in first with her faster, with the flying, looks around the town, checks the window of the jail to see if my Cassie is in there. I don't know if I'd recommend getting too close to the church, but maybe have a quick look-see. I don't know. That's up to whether you think this is a good idea. I trust you on this one. But and then comes back, tells us what it is we might be in for, and then we go. No?
All right,
I
then,
thought
in
that was the
case,
idea.
Yep.
if we're going in for Cassie tonight, then it would be better if we waited closer to town.
Yeah, except there's not a whole lot of places to wait, is the thing.
No, you guys would be safer here. I'm not going to be gone for the whole time. I'm planning on being back well before the hour is up, unless something goes entirely sideways, in which case y'all better find me or I'm haunting you, motherfuckers.
I don't think that's gonna be much of a problem, but that's the thing. I don't know if there's anything flight capable haunting that place, but that just means that if there is something that's nasty and you can't deal with it, you even if you haven't spotted Cassie, we still need to know. So you just fly.
I'll try to make the jail my first stop. And-
Probably not a good idea.
Oh, okay.
If there's guards that notice you,
That's a fair point.
just in case. I don't know.
No. It's a good idea. It's just y'all have been good to us, so I'm trying to do as much as I can for y'all.
I understand, but if we have to go in to get her, it's easier for us to go in and maybe deal with guards. And even if we find out she's not there, we'd still have to deal with them.
True.
It's better for us to go in not knowing that she's there than to lose. Well,
Thank you. All right.
you would hunt me, and these two would probably make sure that we hunted each other for like ever. And I don't think I'd want to be a haunt here anyway. That sounds like a very bad idea.
Right. Well, there's no time like the present. How late is it? Are we dark yet or no?
Not quite. We haven't
Okay.
quite hit dinner yet. To be fair, because you
Ah,
guys
okay.
didn't.
I didn't quite remember.
You guys didn't spend very long in town. And
That's right.
Currently, Prudence is keeping the twins busy.
Okay, so I'll head out a bit after dinner.
Yeah. When you're getting not so much into sunset as twilight, because usually that's around when the owls come out. Not that we've
Yeah,
seen very many around here anyway, but. I think most owls have places they'd rather be than this.
Yeah.
Be careful,
my
Reba.
Of course, my general plan, my general thought with the church was to give it a circle, and then if it looked like the steeple was clear, to go ahead and land
I wouldn't
on
wa-
it.
I wouldn't want to touch that. Not alone.
Hmm.
Just get the lay of the land.
All right. That's why I'm letting you know what my thought was.
You're
It's probably not the best of ideas.
you're a little bit reckless, yes. You're wiser than this woman.
I am. I'm letting. I really want to get Cassie out of there. Sorry.
Yes,
Sorry,
but
Louis. Thank you.
that part of it doesn't involve having to actually land on the steeple, where again there might be. I mean, from what I understand, apart from the bells, which we're not really close enough to be hearing them ringing, so I don't know if they're still working. But given what the church has turned into, I imagine a lot of it's at night.
And who knows what that's done to the building itself? Right. Hmm.
So yeah,
All right.
maybe not by yourself.
Yeah. No. You're right. Err more on the side of caution there. Okay. I'll give it a few circles. The only place I'll try to possibly land is near the jail or on the window, the edge of the window. But if I can get enough of a look just by going by, I will.
I doubt it. I have a feeling that, how windows work. They tend to be a bit more inset.
Yeah, that was my thought too. So
But if you get an issue, this is something I'll have to arrange when you are owl shipped. And reaches into a belt pouch and pulls out this little thin glass globe that's largely gray. I think I can thread this onto something and tie it around your talon or something. It is basically a smoke bomb. If something spots you, you drop it, you go. Yeah?
Yeah, brilliant.
You know, if we're sending you out for a report, we actually want you to be able to come back with the report, yeah? Meantime, you got run to the house to see to whatever preparations you gotta make. Or if you haven't got any preparations to make, you can maybe entertain the kids while Prudence does dinner.
I can do that.
Currently, you've got kids cheerfully bringing in apples, and Prudence going, well, guess who's having apple pie?
Reba blushes just a little bit, like, to see how happy they are.
And it's just hugged.
It's the
Hugged.
embarrassment. It's just so much like she's just very happy that they're happy,
Yeah.
and her efforts helped cause
And
that. So she's just,
once they put their little bushels down, one twin on either leg, hug, and in unison, thank you.
pat. She's smiling bigger and more sincerely than y'all have seen in a long time. 'Cause
Given that
usually
you guys, given that you guys haven't known her very long, probably ever.
yeah,
Ever.
it's rare. She barely ever smiles. At least not like this.
Yeah, and I think she's probably come closest when Spot brings prey, but not quite like this.
Oh, wow.
The kids sort of bounce over to Jillian and Aloy, and Hank is just, can it be story time? Can it, please? I remembered my please this time, Mama. Good boy.
Why don't you tell them a story, Aloy?
That does not
It's
seem
what-
like a very good plan. My stories would get extensive and probably say things I shouldn't.
She's still got two excitable looking, bright-eyed twins looking at her.
Oh no.
Tell them something about Muffin.
Expound about.
And you've got Spot going to Reba. I mean, they already know Creepy. Couldn't she tell them about she's mentioned the buffalo? Because that's also when she met the lady with the good hands.
Spot is suggesting about the buffalo.
Oh, the zombie buffalo.
And you just got the twins going, ooh. And Prudence just going, I was really kind of hoping we wouldn't have stories like this until they were 7. It's just buffalo. It's just buffalo share. I think they can probably manage about buffalo, yeah? You're helping me core and peel apples for this. Yeah, sure. And the kids are just,
So, yeah, this is before I met either of these two. And
Spot is just sort of going, it's when she met
well,
lady with the good hands. Well, no, this Spot, remember?
Yeah. When you.
I know I was going to get to that. I said it was immediately before.
And Spot just flattens. Sorry.
And is do I see Spot like doing this? I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
cat sulks are very obvious things. Yes.
Yes, very much so.
look, reach over, and just give scritches.
Oh, she's got good hands too. Purr.
Looking at Jillian and Aloy in quick succession. Y'all got good hands. It just points at Spot. Just so you know.
Anyhow, I was in the saloon of this town that hadn't yet banned me for copious explosions.
And the kids just... Later, can we hear about the
And-
explosions, please?
Yeah, I'll run you through the list of places I've gotten banned from for Kerboom.
And Louis leaves off his apple coring and just... doesn't stop you, just brief facepalm and carries on.
So, I'm sitting in the saloon, just kind of, trying to blend in because I'm a northerner in the middle of town full of, well, anybody who would look at someone from the north kind of funny.
Like sometimes people
And-
look at Papa funny?
Not nearly in the same level. But
And they look at Reba like, really? Because
there are people who are jerks, and they'll differentiate just based on pointing to own skin tone.
points at Louis, who, can we please remember, is not entirely white.
Yeah, and I'm basically saying, yeah, there are people who are
Yeah, but
jerks who will differentiate based on that.
yeah, but you said that it wasn't like Papa Gets.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like Papa Gets because they're being jerks. They'd be jerks at you about being a northerner, which you can avoid by just not talking very much. But he can't avoid what his skin looks like.
Yep.
And people are
Yeah, that's
jerks
sort of what I
about
meant by
that
it not
too.
being the same.
That's what Aloy meant by
Yeah,
it
that's what I
not
meant by
being
it
quite
being
the
not
same
the-
thing.
Except it is, because
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to not talk. It sounds like passing, but what it really is stifling.
They're not wrong, Aloy. So
Yeah.
People are jerks. We understand, but it is kind of like Papa. Carry on.
yeah, they're not wrong.
Anyhow, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm gonna do because I didn't that time have a lot of money that wasn't, holding out the greenbacks. This stuff.
They clearly have not seen greenbacks before.
And I'm just giving one of the many greenback bills to them just to here. You can just have that one. It's basically useless to me at this point.
What does it do?
I have a bunch of other ones.
It's money up north.
It's just money.
It's what they use to represent it.
Couldn't they just write down on a piece of paper? It's about the same thing.
Thing, isn't it?
You know,
Close
I
enough.
mean,
Except the northerners, sweetheart, because this was Gert doing the talking. The thing is, Cher, is that up north, most of the money is this kind of arbitrary thing about how much what people do is worth, as much as what things are is worth, and the government decides all that. So they have this special government mandated money. But didn't the Confederacy have a real problem with that? Yeah, that's because they were stupid and they decided that the way to have more money was to print more money without the people or the food or the metal or the anything else to back it up. People are weird. Yes, sweethearts. Yes, they are.
Yep.
Sorry, Miss Aloy, ma'am.
Sitting there, and who comes in but Jillian? Looking apparently for someone to work on her guns. And apparently wasn't exactly expecting me, but at the same time wasn't exactly too weirded out by it. Was more just telling me to stop trying the accent that I really should not try.
And they turn around to Jillian and go, "Did you see the mechanical muffin outside?"
Yes, I had. It was quite eye-catching. Muffin's not something you see very often.
All of those parts are custom milled.
Clearly a little disappointed they're not getting more out of Jillian, but
And
they
hammer
might
forged.
they might prod later.
So, after telling me to desist with the accent and do some gun work, let me see if I'm remembering this right. I think I managed to. Did I get to modify them before the?
No.
Didn't
To
even get.
actually, she hadn't quite got around to asking. She was inching around the subject when the screaming started outside.
There was sort of discussion happening, and then the yelling starts. The screaming, the yelling, the freaking out, and Jillian goes bull rushing outside because I think you had encountered this apparent herd of zombie buffalo before.
That's why I'd been in the area.
And
She
yeah,
says-
and the whole
Jillian has two expectant kids looking at her just like,
you're allowed to tell the story, Jillian.
I think more. I think they're more detail would, from your perspective.
Because I didn't see them until they turned up in the middle of the town. How many had you seen?
That part had been a bit more unexpected, but it's just like hunting vermin. Very, very large, aggressive vermin that cause a whole lot of trouble for folk if someone isn't there to deal with them.
so who told you that there was Bufflerman?
I'm using that one.
I was going to go with Zombuffalo, but that works too.
Yeah, but that's using the whole word of one, and Zomphalo is a little bit weird, so
That's a good point. That's a very
Bufflerman.
good point. That's a good point.
I'm stealing that one.
you can't if I give it to you.
Very true.
I know it's a made-up word, but all words are made up at first.
Exactly. I
You
have
kids are going to go far. You're
sketches about
smart as a
made-up
whip.
things I gotta show you later, too.
This is the little girl again, and you got Louis basically going, yeah, I really gotta try and get her to a like a school, or, and I know she's a girl, but some people are just gonna have to learn to suck it up, and she's going to go to like an actual university where she's actually going to learn things. I can hope. Sorry, Miss Aloy, ma'am, but Miss Jillian, how did you hear about the Bufflerman?
Well, I go places where there's trouble, and sometimes I hear something at a bar, and sometimes I just go where the wind blows, and the wind
And
blows me in the right direction.
Hank just sort of goes, did the Lord tell you?
Sometimes he does much more clearly, yes.
Papa had a friend like that once. He came to visit when I was real small.
Oh, that's nice.
I haven't seen him since then. Papa, do you think he's gonna come back? I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to see, yeah?
It's a big world out there. It's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, but he's a friend of Papa's. But maybe the Lord sent you instead because you were closer and better at Bufflerman. And more that she's younger. Some of us do actually retire. But you're not so much with the Lord, Papa. I know. Much like Miss Reba, I got a different thing, but that doesn't mean that her thing is any less valid. I mean, we've seen that there's actually a good Lord out there. It's just that not what I was raised with. So are we respectful of other people's faiths? Yeah. Of course, Papa. It's all really neat. Except for the stuff that I sometimes hear is going on in You're not supposed to be listening to that. What did I tell you? 2 more years. And then the girl is just... But we still have Miss Aloy's story. You can stop pestering about that and listen to Miss Aloy's story. Sorry, so Miss Jillian stomps out. Like I heard a story about... I heard stories about Annie Oakley, and I heard stories about Joan of Arc, so maybe she's a combination of the two.
Yep. Pretty much dead on right there.
And I guess you followed?
Yep. I just finished work on, and I'm producing the cannon safety on.
Ooh.
Finished work on, well, the first form of this before I got the rotary cylinders.
Neat.
Initially, it was just this one for lightning blasts.
And he didn't even know if it worked?
No idea. I'd done the math, and theoretically the test firing of the generator worked, but I hadn't actually had the accuracy tests done yet. So, now as good a time as any, I figured, so I run out, go past Jillian, tell Muffin to start up, pointed this thing, pulled trigger, and best noise I ever heard. Just that whining charge up noise and lightning everywhere. Goodbye, 3 buffalo.
I hadn't much expected that either.
They were all like up in the middle of the town and everything, and just chasing people and trying to chew on them. And I hit one and just gone.
And Hank is just...
I don't know where the bits went. All I know is that there was buffalo, and then there was just nothing.
To be fair, Jillian knows where the bits of zombie buffalo went. They were on like 3 separate roofs. And Jillian knows she's also...
shots, though.
And Jillian knows she's also forgetting that Muffin literally drove one several inches into a wall.
So
Muffin
after I kept firing...
Yeah, and you've got...
Yeah, and telling Muffin...
Sorry.
Yeah, after Muffin's... Yeah, you're right. After Muffin started up, Muffin got in on it. Muffin took one, and... Did Muffin put it through the wall or just into the wall?
A good bit.
Because Muffin can headbutt harder than a buffalo.
Yeah, clearly.
And the girl sticks her head where Muffin is, sort of out around the back porch, and goes, "Yay, Muffin! Squisher of Buffalo-ermin!" Boop. Boop.
I'm telling the... And I'm going to follow her. I'm telling the buffalo story.
Boop, 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 boop. And so you shot and smushed and zapped all the zombie buffalo?
Yep.
That's right.
And I bet you're heroes of the town now.
I didn't exactly take too kindly to the fact that Muffin put one in and or through a wall, and lightning cannons tend to go straight through things without any regard for what's behind it.
But you're still kind of heroes, right?
A little bit. I'm just not allowed to go back there anymore.
I hope they at least gave you dinner. They did give you dinner.
Yes, they did.
Thankfully, there was in fact food before explosions.
No, there was food after explosions. They basically just went, eat, rest, and then get out of town before worse happens.
Well, yeah, correction, Jillian's right. It was after explosions, and then they told us to get out of there.
And so then you were comrades in arms?
That's right.
I used to loader a gun repair, and that was the idea. And a few rather kaboomy instances later, we met Reba.
The twins exchange a look, and then Hank just sort of presses his sister a little bit closer and goes, "Excuse me, Miss Aloy, ma'am? I don't
Ye-
know if he's a trade secret or not, but if you have drawings of how Muffin is inside, could I maybe look at them, please? Please, please, please?"
Very yes. In fact, I can make you copies if you'd like for some inspiration.
Neat, thank you. But I kind of wanted to look at them with you first so that you could tell me what some of the math means.
Sure.
And
I
that's
mean,
Book
it's
comes
tutor.
out.
that's Aloy's afternoon in a nutshell. Basically helping spark the scientific interest in this little 5-year-old who's fairly quick on the uptake, as it happens.
Do I have enough stuff in Muffin to, in like the secret chest and stuff, to sort of make a broader, like almost chalkboard-esque situation happen in anywhere? So that I could write the equations out?
Well, you'd never had the chalkboard situation, so you didn't have that to put in the secret chest.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if there's any way I could I could do an equivalent, like a nice broad space to.
What you have is Hank going down cellar and coming out with a roll of butcher paper.
Yes, and there's just giant math equations.
Yeah, tutoring little girl in math, and Hank isn't overly interested. Hank is more just he's not really sure what to do with himself. He's just happy that his sister is happy. He's clearly not the intellectual type.
Still clearly a sweetie.
He's just real happy his sister's happy. But it takes a look at the math for like 5 minutes, and then clearly his head hurts. So he's like, "You enjoy yourself, sis." Pads off, looking for something to do. I don't know why you switched on your sound just to shift in your chair.
I don't know. Sort of mid thought.
Yeah, I was waiting to see if
Reba will. I think Reba's going to get up and go join Hank in whatever he's wanting to get up to.
he's not really overly sure, but he's.
She's going to kind of let him, kind of be like, well, Trudy's obviously enraptured for a little while, and I could see you're not big on the math. Neither am I. So where do your interests lie? Out of curiosity.
Oh, I like stories, and I like the stories in the church before it got stupid, and I like all the stories that Papa tells about the top hat man and goddess lady who's both love and vengeance, and that's really really neat, and the big snake that's all about knowledge. And but I don't know what kind of things that you have for that.
I could share a few with you, and so yeah, so that's exactly what which is great because that's exactly kind of what I was thinking. So yeah, she'll sit down with him and start spinning a few of her old stories
Yes.
but from her background. So it's a little
Yeah.
bit from column A, a little from column B.
Yeah, he's clearly more fascinated with father's end of things because he's already kind of got mom's. So yeah, the Arisha is one thing and he's fairly familiar, but the spirits and the ancestor thing is the kind of thing he's really interested in. So basically, what you've got is one potential physicist and one potential theologist.
Yeah, basically. But one of the most well-rounded theologists I've ever met.
Comparative theology. That's what I mean. And you muted yourself, so I didn't hear any of that.
Fair point.
Yeah. So yeah, you've got a comparative theologist and you've got a physicist, and they're going to have the most interesting they're going to have the most interesting view of religion. I mean, given that they're living in the wastes with a capital W, that's probably healthy. And what does Jillian want to do with herself in all that time?
Well, once the children have been occupied, she'll go back to Cassie's room and just pray a bit, try to keep herself calm.
Okay, are you trying for any particular insight or...
Yeah. Thinking about Isaac and very unfortunate complications that have arisen in the Ghost Rock and town potentially full of cultists.
Yes.
I'm not really sure what to do at this point. He's not entirely sure what to do to resolve some of those things.
Okay. Make me a wisdom check, please. No, she is basically all she's getting is there's a little girl who needs some rescuing. Will you get your thoughts off your husband for 5 minutes?
Yeah,
That's basically what she's got right now.
That's fair.
And eventually dinner happens. It turns out that Louis has helped with more than the apple pie for dinner, and what you have as your meal is not the usual roasted anything or stew or what have you. Exactly. What you have is gumbo. Reba hasn't had any of this for quite some time. And then she realizes that some of what she revived in that garden was okra. She hasn't had okra. It was a real special occasion kind of thing for her. So, I mean, you've got... I mean, okay, it's mostly, chicken and sausage, but they're still a well-off town, so they did manage to find some probably freshwater, shellfish kind of situation in there. So you guys don't know what this is, except it kind of looks like a stew, but there's a little bit of everything in it, and you don't know what those vegetables are, and it smells kind of spicy.
And Reba just looks overjoyed. She's thrilled. Again, more animated than you all have seen her ever.
And Prudence says, "Yeah, Louis said that you'd probably have a look like that." And Louis is just to you too. It's gumbo. My Prudence, I put her gumbo up with just about anything else that I'd have had in New Orleans. It swats him on the shoulder. Stop it, you. Well, we'll not.
From the smell alone, I'd be inclined to agree.
I mean, it's never going to be quite as good as your mother's, because it's the fact that it was your mother's, obviously, that made it so tasty to you. But holy crap, this is amazing. For you guys, it's not so spicy that I have to ask for constitution saves, because it's also meant for 5-year-old children who, although let's face it, they grew up on this stuff, so. But it's still more spice factor than Aloy in particular is used to, because the Northerners aren't really known for any kind of spicy factor, whereas Jillian's end of the woods is a little bit more geared on the chili kind of end of things. So, but it's a very different spice profile than chili. So, a lot of onion, a lot of garlic, a lot of unidentifiable but tasty things in it.
Which is basically the perfect description of gumbo in general.
You do have Prudence kind of looking slightly concerned at you two, like, are you going to like it? Do I have to bring something out of the icebox? I mean, probably not for Jillian, because Jillian will eat anything, but
Yep.
Aloy is a sheltered city girl, although she is a sheltered city girl who likes trying new things, so it's up to you what she thinks of gumbo.
Just sort of like there's a few moments of like, hold on a second, what am I tasting here? And, oh no, hot. At which point I down
Milk.
some of whatever.
Milk. They've brought out milk specifically because of that.
Yup, that.
Drink your milk.
And I'm going, and after like a few seconds of just calming down from that, like, I need more of this, and right back in. This is new. It kicks almost as hard as Muffin does, just in a different manner. And once I spend a little bit more time processing past the burning sensation, I can taste gloriousness, and I'm just like sitting and I'm going through it, actually like pausing to savor every few minutes, because I'm getting past the burning, and I just turn progressively redder as I'm doing this.
Given Aloy is a very she's very big on the details of things, give me an investigation check. Yeah, you can actually, I mean, there's a couple of things you don't have words for, because you've never encountered them before, but as you're eating, it's like, okay, there's some, is that freshwater clam in there? Maybe some mussels? It's just, I recognize the shell bits that I'm having to fish things out of, and there's some chicken, and I think that's some shredded pork, which was already cooked, so it's got some very interesting other flavor to it. So some kind of pork in a way that I haven't had cooked before, so I should ask about that. And there's some kind of spicy sausage slices in here, and there's some onion, and I don't know what this green sort of ridgy vegetable is, but it's really neat. And lots of onion, and there's some garlic, and it's a kind of pepper, but I don't know what kind of pepper, and on like that. So as you're savoring, you're getting the various ingredients of the gumbo.
Mm-hmm. And
it's probably the slowest. It's the slowest you've ever seen her eat.
And you're also getting like periodic I can see through time expressions.
Reba's thoroughly enjoying the gumbo, but at the same time, she's basically eating it while watching the facial journey of Aloy.
God, facial journey is a thing now.
You've started another in-joke.
Yeah, I come up with terms, and then they become part of the general lexicon. It's great. Anyway, yes, is Aloy going to share her findings over, well, once she's cleared her plate and probably scraped it a couple of times and be like, oh, it's gone already?
Yeah, there's that expression. I. Reaching for the book.
Okay.
I can't, like, words. I need to at least write out what I can determine.
And she writes for a fairly long time, and There's cooked pork question mark question mark question mark question mark question mark.
Cooked pork, shredded question mark question mark question mark question mark.
And you've got Hank looking over. Oh yeah, that's the pulled pork that we made a few days back. It's
Next to that, dash pulled pork.
and he actually starts explaining. It's really good. What you do is you do a sort of a rub on it with some spices and some brown sugar and some things, and then you wrap it up and you cook it under a low heat for a really, really long time, so it gets really, really tender and basically falls apart in those shredded bits, which is why it was shreds rather than chunks.
And just underneath the bit that says pulled pork, there's just the list of how.
And while Aloy is finishing up her writing, because she's going significantly in depth here, and Louis is going, it would have been nice if we'd had shrimp, but we're not near enough for a coast for that, so we got some freshwater clams and some mussels and things like that. We put that in there. Most of the fish around here doesn't survive a gumbo too well, but we had some leftover chicken and some duck. A few of the sausages Prudence puts up. If you're still needing supplies, afterwards we can send you away with some of those. They're good for traveling. They're hard and they keep well, but they also soak up a sauce, as you've seen.
It's just seafood equals mandatory.
In
In parentheses, shrimp, all capitals.
And the funny green vegetable is okra.
Okra. And
That is also mandatory.
Dash mandatory. Do you have a whole instance of it so I could sketch it?
There's some in the garden you can. I think there might still be enough light out there, but if you don't come back soon enough, then your ice cream will have melted, and that's when Prudence puts down pie a la mode. Look, I got some bits of magic. I'm gonna do something with them. If it's just a matter of homemade ice cream, then fine. And this is Aloy's turn to not have seen that in a very long time, and Reba and Jillian have mostly only heard of this. So you guys have, okay, it's cold and sweet, and Aloy is just, oh my god!
I will be right back. I have taken off to do as fast of a sketch as I possibly can before screaming back in full tilt.
Okay, actually, I'm just going to roll the Hand of Fate on this one, because hell with it.
Do I slam face first into the door on the way back?
No, actually, that's not what I'm rolling for. It's the detail level of the sketch that, although you do actually trip on because you got me interested in that. With a nat 1, you do trip over the door frame and fall flat on your face before you head back out into the garden and do a fairly good sketch in the speed drawing kind of situation before you screech back in with a slightly red nose because you really just face planted. And by this time you guys have tried some quite good apple pie and homemade vanilla ice cream, which for your first attempt at it is okay. Wow. Our vegetables might not always be up to much, but we got a pretty good cow. Actually, if you did the entire garden, we might be able to do strawberry ice cream next time.
It's mighty impressive what you've done out here.
And
I'm settling down and vibrating.
Yeah, and the plate is put down in front of her. Take it. It's been a while, eh, sure?
Extremely. Since first kaboom.
Looks you over. I don't think you're going to be telling about first kaboom. And the kids in unison, not until we're 7. For your own good, kiddos.
This is also getting savored.
Yeah, I mean, this is This is probably better than any of the ice cream you've had. Just because, homemade. Solid vanilla bean instead of vanilla extract, which is how yours would have been made.
Yeah, there are just Aloy's alt is just squeak joy noises while eating this around the
and Hank
favor moments.
And Hank sort of leans over in her direction and goes, because Miss Reba helped fix the garden, if you're still around soon-ish, Papa says we might be able to have strawberry ice cream.
And then it's just this look of just sheer delight that I don't think that kid will have ever seen on somebody. Eyes the size of fucking dinner plates.
Reba just chuckles a little, looks at Aloy and goes, "You're welcome." No, really, you are. It's all good. I'm just happy to see you so happy, Aloy.
It's like a tone underneath the still, like she's still got her mouth shut, and you hear the noise building.
The little girl is just, when we have to be led about something, Mama says to go out into the garden and get it out of our system.
I'm gonna go do that.
So is squee loud enough to shake the windows?
Quite possibly. I don't think Aloy can quite manage Hazel hypersonic, but she gets close.
Yeah, it's more the volume, so you do get in a couple of kitchen windows. And Louis just going, I'm gonna have to check the sealant on that. But we got other things at hand.
Again, just this sort of completely looking Aloy.
And you're feeling better, Cher.
So much.
There you go. Now sit down and finish your pie before it gets cold. And your ice cream melts all over everything.
Back to reasonable rate pie consumption.
And once all of that is more or less finished, you've got Prudence herding the kids up to bed and saying, I think I'll probably stay up there with them. I've got some knitting yet to do, but better than hanging around the parlor watching you go and waiting for you to come back. I'd really rather not do that. Never liked it. I know, Cher, but I know. If you don't go to bed, it'll come to us, so be careful. I'll do my best. It gives you all a bit of an avert your eyes look before he kisses his wife quite soundly and then sends her upstairs. And by now it's sunset and a little beyond. We're not quite at twilight point yet, but we will be by the time Reba gets changed and gets there. So now's probably as good a time to get started as any.
Yeah, so she'll step outside, just kind of stretch a little, because she's still not quite used to the idea of all of this, because it's still so pretty new, and just kind of stretches her arms down, and then she is now an owl. She's just kind of...
Although having her arms down there meant that her wings were in a slightly weird position, so it's just sort of flip. Note to self: next time, keep them back a bit.
Yep, exactly. And just kind of moving.
And then, of course, that and the head doing the rotation thing, and then snapping back like, "Whoa, okay, what the hell?"
Yeah, you can definitely get a sense of her just kind of. Okay, this is me now, so cool. All right. And then turn, blink, turn.
That whole thing where owls can't turn their eyes.
Yeah,
so the whole head has to go around.
Yeah, but still kind of freaky when you're not used to it.
That's
so,
why. That's why. It's like you're trying to look to the side, and instead of just glancing like you would as a human, your whole head just goes, whoa, wasn't ready.
that and then the fact that it keeps going all the way around, and then she went right back around and was like, okay, that's a thing. Hang on. And then went back around the other side and came back around. Okay, that's a thing as well. Okay. And, just generally stretching and just be like, whoa, those go far. Okay. Cool. And she's just kind of, making weird little hooty noises. And figures out where Louis is and kind of turns herself so she's facing Louis because she remembered he had a thing to hand her or claw her or talon her. I'm not sure how
because incidentally, just so that you are aware of what exactly you are a great horned owl. You're kind of big.
Yeah, I know exactly the type. I've seen them. Yay, going to various Ren fairs with birds of prey expeditions and actually seeing one in person. That was a thing. Holy crap.
I petted one once.
Okay, envy.
Yeah, it was a little bit concerning to some people, but it's like they wouldn't let me if he was going to snap. And it was the very fact that I was chill about it that probably kept it from just sort of, hand and then pet. They're soft.
Seen a Russian channel with the eagle owl equivalent, and it's just always there with this expression of.
Yeah, except great horned owls look perennially pissed off.
So just add angry eyes to the basic owl.
Not that most owls need them.
So basically, with the same expression Reba generally has all the time.
The spirits picked the grumpy owl for the grumpy shaman. So yes, once Reba is settled into her new temporary skin, I take it she attempts flight.
Mm-hmm. Well, first he was going to hand her a thing.
Oh yeah, he sort of loosely ties it around ankle kind of thing, and just give it a good claw with the other one if you need to.
She kind of whatever. I don't know if owls can nod, but she'll whatever the equivalent
it's
is.
More of a head bob kind of thing.
Yeah, but a deliberate
Yeah.
Not like a reflex head bob. This was not very obvious. I gotcha.
Yeah, they don't do so from the chin. They do it more from because they don't have chins.
Right. And yeah, she'll and
and off she goes, and that's a thing.
So yeah, you see her go up and a fair ways up, and then okay, and kind of circle a time or two just to get her bearings and figure out and town.
Well, you can see you can see the big now that you're up, as well as an owl sight. You can you can see the general shape of town anyway.
Yeah. So once I've done that and orient myself in the right direction, I'm off.
And approximately 10 minutes later, as the owl flies, you are hovering over the town at night. And I've borrowed a map for this, so bink. Yeah, that's more or less.
Zoom out a bit.
That's more or less town. You got your.
Zoom out more. Oh, okay. It's not gonna do. There we go. Okay.
I mean, you're not paying all that much attention until you've got to sort of town square kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the bits that they haven't packed up for the night, and you're in your general store. You got your jailhouse kind of over there. And so you basically got jail, the saloon, hotel, sort of all together, bit and piece. General store. Another somewhat more fancy building that you think might involve the mayor. Taylor.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'll do is, circle the town itself just to see if anyone or anything is out and about before
Oh.
getting closer to land.
Okay, will you please give me a perception check? You have no particular advantage, but you have no disadvantage either because you are, in point of fact, an owl.
12.
You're not seeing anything at the moment, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's not something out there, just on the basis that there's shit that can hide.
Right. And I'm still not used to being an owl.
Yeah.
Okay. I will not land directly yet, but at least kind of lower my altitude to get a better look at the jail itself. This is still very much being very cautious, and trying not to get too close until I can better determine whether or not it's actually safe to risk it.
Okay, so what exactly... You said you're not landing directly yet, so...
Yeah, I'm not landing yet. I just want to lower my altitude. Instead of circling the whole town, circle more around just the jail itself.
Okay, give me another perception check.
That's even worse. 5.
Nope, you're probably just a little bit too much worried about, what's going on in the jail, etc. And remembering that you're supposed to be saving the looking in there for last anyway. And, it's your
Yeah.
it's your owl brain kind of pulling in different directions, and you're like, no, I really need to focus. I am not an owl.
Right. Okay. In which case, I will leave the town for now, leave off the town for now, and get higher up again, and fly over toward the direction of the church.
Okay. You're heading in that sort of direction. Give me yet again another perception check, please.
10. God, I'm rolling great tonight.
I mean, you can tell that there's some kind of sermon going on in there, which is weird at this time of night, but maybe not, all things considered. You can't hear actual, what's being said, but it's apparently quite the sinners in the hands of an angry god kind of hellfire and brimstone loud preaching. Less quiet man of God, more... You didn't really expect that amount of fervor volume coming out of that thing you saw.
Right. Very hearkening to memories of some various the typical Southern fire and brimstone preacher with the tent and whatnot.
Yep.
Was big in the area. So yeah, that's a familiar vibe, if not.
Yeah, and you usually knew that maybe your encampment needed to move.
Exactly. Yeah. Once those tents are a familiar sight, unfortunately, and that was usually a signal to we're gonna go know. Anyway,
Yeah, except
all right.
now they're in that church and you've got a mixed race family just down the road.
Exactly. Okay. Well, they're obviously there. So, okay. I'll do a swoop to get a little closer and just again, I'm following Louis' advice and I'm not touching anything it's related to the church, but I want to get a little bit lower, like 10 feet up
Okay.
from the top of the steeple, just to get a look.
Give me another perception check.
Okay. Oop, nat 20.
Yeah.
Finally.
One of the things that, I mean, you're focused on the church at this point, and you do recognize that voice. And the thing that's a little bit distressing is that usually when you saw those tents and you heard that, you usually got a lot more hallelujahs and amens from the congregation. You're not getting any of that. In those pauses between, when he's catching some breath, and there's usually just a second where there's a natural pause where there's a whole lot of hallelujah, preach, etc., etc. None of that. It is dead silent in there, and that's almost more worrying. And there is talk of the heathens down the road, and that they've seen one of their number who is clearly, fighting the will of God, and we've seen to him, but there's still that nest of vipers, etc., etc. Get a little distracted from that by a good look at the graveyard. Graveyard's been significantly disturbed. There's a lot of holes, rather large ones, a couple of shattered coffins at the bottom of them, and there don't actually appear to be any corpses. Actually, given a nat 20, you are finding bits of corpses. Like small chunks, usually bone, things that maybe weren't going to be palatable for something. And that is when you notice that most of those weren't dug from the inside. They were messily exhumed. So it's not you've got Walking Dead, it's you've got something that decided it was going to eat the corpses.
I am flying back up high, way high again. I've seen what I needed to see. Oh boy. I'm going to fly back in the direction of the jail. I'm going to go back. Well, okay. I want to go from the church back toward the town, give the town one more once over, see if I see any creatures, because there were reports of them. They may not be showing up this early, so I'm not expecting to see anything, but just in case.
I will unfortunately have to ask for
another perception check. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
I'd love to let you keep the nat 20, but no. If there is anything, you're a little bit too shaken by.
Mm-hmm.
Although to be fair, given that you are fairly wise, it's entirely possible that when the whatever pickings are slim, it's been eaten out of that graveyard. So maybe it's not out yet, or maybe it's stalking in the shadows or anything like that. So, but for the moment, you've mostly got eyes for jail and out. Jail and out. This is not good.
Mm-hmm. Heading to the jail. I'll roll another perception check because she's not going to land right away without giving it one more once over.
Okay.
14.
Okay. You do see something you don't get much of a glimpse, because whatever this is hiding in shadows that it probably shouldn't be able to, because there's still some light. Not much, but some. The impression you get is a lot of arms, and sort of on all fours, or would be all fours if it didn't have extra legs, and it's kind of skittering in the general direction of the more residential areas of town. The main reason you spot anything is because it seems to be stopping around the inn hotel area. So you see this little flash of shadow just skitter from one bit to the next. Pause, and then another little flash heading more toward the residential area, like it's thought better of it or something. But it could just be... Most people would probably think it's just a shadow, that some trick of the light, but you've been looking for something like that, so you know a little better, but you don't get much of a look at it. You just get the impression of dark thing, a lot of arms, skittery, and should not be able to cram itself into a shadow that small, but it did! And it seems to be heading for where people live.
Okay. This is not... she's not going to get any closer to the jail. It's not.
Well, no, it's going away from the jail.
Oh, my bad.
Remember, it's heading for where people live.
So the resident, right, and they would be the other direction.
Well,
because it's going away. Well, it's going away from the tavern, such and such thing.
Yeah, which is there.
Also away from the jail.
Yeah.
Because you said the jail was up that way in the northwest or northeast.
Yeah.
So it's going away. Okay. All right. Then yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I'll fly low enough to see if there is a window with looking like a jail window.
Yeah, you don't even need a perception roll for that. If you're getting low enough, you won't be able to see in, but you will see that there's, and it's not a huge building, but there are a couple of narrow windows with bars on. You'll probably just be about to fit sitting in them at your size, but you would not be able to fit through the bars. I mean, well, you squeeze, but probably best.
I wouldn't want to try it. Yeah, in which case I'll land at one of them, just trying to look as much like a regular owl as I can.
The first window you have a cell. Seems to be empty. There's a cot. It doesn't look dusty, so it's clearly been used recently, but probably not for very long.
Up and back around and perched on the next window.
On the next and only other barred window is another cell, and this one does look like it's in use. There's a sort of lump of bedclothes. This smallish, hard to tell because they've clearly curled up as much as possible under the blanket, which they've got over their head, and in that classic I reject this reality, go away pose.
Going to tap her beak on the bar.
After about the second time, you get this very dark eye and a fluffy hair. Not getting much more than that because it's pretty clearly Cassie just from the description and knowing what Louis looks like, but and is looking at you like, what the fuck? You're muted.
Do owls blink? Owls blink, right?
Yeah.
Owls blink. So gonna do the owl equivalent of the long slow blink. very deliberate, just and then head bob.
And a hand comes out of the blankets, and with no small amount of urgency.
Oh, and gone.
And the last thing you see is foomp, back under the blankets. Difficult to see whether or not she's actually no. Give me one last perception check, just to see what you happen
Okay.
to notice.
One moment. Let me move my windows back the way they should be. There we go. Now I can actually get to things easier. Only 7.
Yeah, there even for you, there wasn't quite enough light in there, and whatever it was, she was significantly minimizing anyone seeing anything about her, so you don't know how. I mean, she's capable of moving her hand, but you can't tell if she's injured any other way, how freaked out she is.
She's
Anything.
alive, which is basically what the main thing I was trying to confirm anyway.
Yeah.
Like, where is she located, and is she actually alive? She is. That's that is what I was expecting to be able to get. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna fly back home, and I'm gonna take my win wherever I could get it and
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, we'll deal with all of that when we come back from break, because we're perfectly timed. Thank you very much for that. And so we'll see you in 5 minutes for the rest of this.
Debrief.
Yeah, pretty much. And we're back with Reba having done her recon and soaring back towards the farmstead with 20 whole minutes to spare.
And landing.
Where are you guys waiting, out of interest?
Jillian's waiting outside.
I had a feeling. Porch or just pacing around out on the yard?
Yeah, pacing around in the yard, like if there's a fence.
There's a fence and a sort of a patio, patio, I guess. Where Louis is sitting in a chair whittling.
And Jillian's pacing along the fence and watching the direction of the town.
And Aloy?
Let's see. I've got Muffin out with me, and I'm just past the porch. Maintenance, buffing, if Muffin will let me without fleeing, getting any additional new dents out.
Buffing and basic maintenance is fine, but as soon as the hammer comes out, you're chasing Muffin around the yard. So yeah, you're chasing Muffin around the yard. So every so often Jillian's got Muffin running past, going boop 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 boop, and followed. I mean, Muffin is faster than Aloy and has more stamina. So you've got an increasingly breathless Aloy waving the hammer. Muffin!
I just want to get the dents out. Let me get the dents. It's only going to take a few seconds.
And finally has to stop at the fence by Jillian, just...
Leave it
Muffin,
be.
just let me do my job.
And yeah, slumped on the fence.
And I'm just sliding down the pole.
And Muffin stops about 10 feet away and just... boop boop. And at around that point, with an incredibly breathless Aloy, and yep, then in comes.
in the distance, probably.
Well, to be fair, they probably wouldn't.
Oh, no,
be. So you'd
yeah.
probably get quite close because of the distraction. So you start over Aloy's wheezing, you start hearing wings, and you see owl.
I mean, we can't even hear the owl, honestly, because silent flight.
Yeah, but when you're that close. Because I'm literally coming in for a landing. I'm going to land behind you two. So it's pretty much right overhead. Like,
Yeah,
you
so we
probably
get the
felt the
fluttering
wings.
noises. We're like, oh.
And yeah, so I'll land like right behind you two. Shake myself a little bit, just like, whew. and then beat, and boom.
Yeah, your shoulders, you're gonna feel that.
Yep. So very much like you just like doing this number, and you just hear creak, 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 and snap, crackle, pop. Oh boy.
Jillian
Oh,
will.
my arms. Ow. Oh boy. Okay, hang on. Let me.
I have conservation of vast concerns.
Not now, Aloy.
Louis is just, it's magic. Shut up.
Thanks, Louie.
I figure you're
Won't
probably a
cause
little
trouble.
bit. I figure must be getting sick of hearing that and saying that. So I figured I'd say it for you this time.
Exactly. Okay.
And he finally gets up with a partially whittled owl from the looks of it.
Louie,
Yeah.
you're gonna wanna.
Yeah,
I don't wanna.
he was heading over. That's why he got
Okay.
up, and that's why you're close enough to see.
Oh wow. Lovely work. Okay. First off, she's alive. She is in the jail, or she was then. She is alive. I couldn't see how injured or not. She was underneath a blanket. She did peek herself out, and she was with it enough to shoo me away. I took her to her word and flew off then.
Usually a good idea with Cassie. Yeah.
I figured. So, yeah. But at least I can give you that much, which is about as much as I expected to get.
Thank
So,
you.
whatever it is coming into the town, apparently, when it can't grab up, has been feasting on the graveyard next to the church. And it doesn't look as though there's a whole lot left. There were some pretty big holes. People were. The church was active. There was a sermon going on. It sounded like your classic fire and brimstone. Except worryingly, the congregation was silent. I mean, completely silent. No hallelujah or what have you. Nothing.
Yeah. To be fair, Jillian's seen both the quieter, halfway decent, quasi-Protestant-ish kind of thing that was her church back home, but she's seen good and bad tent revival preachers. She's probably wound up doing things to some of the bad ones.
Would I have been along for any of those instances of dealing with bad preachers?
Not so much, no, but, I mean, to be fair, you guys haven't quite seen you haven't seen a tent revival preacher. They aren't a thing really up north.
So
But
I hadn't. So since meeting Jillian, there hasn't been any debacle of that nature for the two of us.
not a tent revival debacle. There's probably been one instance in a church, but it wasn't quite like this. And it was probably Jillian being a little bit scary. A little bit scary. Only a little bit for Aloy, because Aloy knows Jillian, and if it was, if she was shooting somebody, even if they were in a church, they were probably bad people. But still, sometimes that voice when she's yelling at somebody to confess is a.
So that's.
There's more.
I guess for me, that's new.
Jillian looks to Reba.
I didn't get a good look. I wasn't. This is my first extended period as an owl, and trying to do more than just be an owl was a little weird. So I didn't get as much of a good look at things as I wanted. But I saw something of a creature, and that's only because I was looking for them. Too many limbs. Way too many, like lots of arms, a few extra legs.
No,
That's...
just a few extra arms.
Oh, just a few extra arms? Okay.
Yeah, you saw
Just-
that much.
Okay. Yeah.
They were.
Just
It was more of a graspy kind of thing. And the only reason you were sure they weren't tentacles, although if you actually catch it, the thing I'm going to be using will have tentacles instead of arms. It's as close as I can get. But you would have thought they were tentacles, except you're pretty sure you saw elbows and fingers.
yeah. It had arms, not
You know,
tentacles.
yeah, you know the word tentacles.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, because she's also picturing it, so that's why the pause. Not tentacles, because it had elbows and bendy bits and fingers and just too many arms, and it was very skittery, and it was going. It went from the. It looked like it ran up to the tavern hotel situation.
It was skittering on
Paused.
walls a lot, by the
Yeah.
way.
Oh yeah, it's skittering on walls, and it was like a spider-ish skittery multi-armed thing, and uh it stopped at the. It looked like the way it stopped. It was like it scrunched itself up into shadows way too small for what it should have been able to fit in, but it fit, and it was like it kind of was like, nah, not a good idea, and then ran off toward, or well, skittered off toward the residential areas. And I did get low enough to hear some of what was being said, and there was talk, yes, of Louis and family here.
And he's just looking like, I'm right here. You're the one who beckoned me over here in the first place.
Right. Yeah, there's talk about you and your family in particular.
Oh, fantastic.
So if we're gonna move, we probably should do it soon.
if the preacher's occupied, now's the best time.
Well, we need to get Cassie clear before I make any kind of move on that church, because if they're talking about us, I think if they're talking about my family, I think as best I can do at this point is help you get my Cassie, and then I gotta get them out. I can't leave this with Prudence alone. Not her on her own and 3 kids.
Yeah. I think our priority is get Cassie either here or to Louis, and then Louis, you get Cassie and go.
I wouldn't be checking in on the church while a congregation is in session anyhow.
That's what I mean. The preacher's busy at the church, so we have an opportunity to get to the jail.
Ah,
Yeah.
separate from, and then deal with the church either later or
I figure
much later or later.
honestly I figured that nighttime is probably not the best time to be taking him on, weirdly. I know how it sounds, but if they're doing a late night thing,
If they're doing a late night thing, it's might be for a reason. That's a good point.
I mean, when you say you saw this individual, do you ever see him in daylight?
I suppose not.
No, I don't believe we did.
And the I can't keep calling him the black-eyed bastard, but you know what I mean. You ever see him in daylight?
Well,
Not-
daylight
not
through a
quite.
sandstorm.
Yeah, not quite. Actually, it was getting on to sunset at that point,
Okay.
so
Not as such. Certainly not high noon.
Mm,
then maybe it's that I don't think it's that they can't go out in the day, but maybe they're not as strong.
Okay, so we get Cassie, we come back. I like. I just want you and your family safe as soon as possible.
Well, we come back here because we're gonna have to pack some things up, and we can't
Yeah.
be leaving the town with the we can't be leaving here with the kids asleep anyway.
Yeah, no. I definitely agree. So we I guess we'll have to wait and see how this goes to determine whether we go back. The three of us are going back regardless. We're not letting this continue, and we're putting a stop to it one way or the other.
Look, here's my thought. Yeah. We do this. We get Cassie. We get out. It's probably going to take more attention to the jail and less on the church in the daytime. So you skirt around there in the morning. Meantime, we get things packed up for leaving at dawn. You can use this place as base camp. Question is, you got any idea of where we should be going?
It's hard to.
If you're not scouting and taking your, if you're going direct instead of taking your sweet time the way you guys had to, the town with the decent preacher man, which could probably use some fresh blood and some little bit of magical assistance anyway, it's only about a week away, which for this end of the world isn't that bad.
Jillian, we came from a town that away. That's as safe as can be in this region, but it's a hard journey.
Yeah, take you about a week, and then I can draw you a map.
That would be good. Sorry.
It happens to be the one we came from, so we did kind of purge the base of operations he had from that place entirely.
And the preacher man is...
The one who's there is the
He's
one
good.
who's the actual preacher there is a good person.
Okay, well, did you get a name? And to be fair,
can't remember.
Jillian asked, and he refused to give it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Just the Reverend.
So
That's how he preferred to be referred to.
And I have a feeling that he and I are going to get along just fine. Is the one who came visiting.
Ah.
That's a turn of luck.
Well, if he's close enough, if he's close enough to be visiting, then he's relatively nearby. But yeah, we got some tents, and we can collect some bits and pieces they might need, and we make it kind of a camp out, yeah. Right, no time like the present.
Want me to set up a barrier around the house for now, at least?
Should be fine
Right.
for the moment. I have a feeling that if we're gonna be moving around in town on the streets instead of in with the congregation, we're gonna come up against your skitter critter thing. So, rather than having it come here. And if the town decides to mobilize against my family, we'll see it happen. And I have a feeling that Reba will have enough time to turn owl and get ahead of them. If we see that happening.
Mm-hmm. I can do that. And turn bear if need be.
Hopefully it won't quite come to that, but we'll see what happens. Warning should be sufficient. We've got a very well hidden storm cellar. Even if they burn the place down, the kids will be alright.
Good.
Let's get moving.
Grabs up his shotgun and I'm just waiting on you.
Jillian's ready to saddle up.
And brings out the Jillian knows this better than anybody, that this guy has a very good horse. And it's clearly been built for speed, stamina. This is a ranger's horse. I mean, most of what Aloy's got is pretty.
Reba, when he brings the horse out, Reba looks at the horse and sort of just nods respectfully toward it.
And gets a sort of a slight toss of the head and a pff. And they're like, yeah, I'm good and I know it. What?
Yeah, I'm good and I know. What of it? It's like,
Sherlock scan the
fair.
horse, so I can pull. I'm going to Sherlock scan at the horse while pulling out book and just quick sketching.
To be fair, unless you're actually fondling this horse, I want a perception check.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just going to rely on whatever results from that, because my goal is more in this case just art of gorgeous.
Not in that one, but I won.
I rolled a 2.
Yeah, you should be better at sketching than this, but it's more that you get started and Spot seems to note Louis getting impatient and jumps on your book, which knocks it and which knocks the book out of your hands and onto the floor and then just sits on it. Oof.
Okay. I'm not going to keep
I don't
doing
think I
that.
need to
Can I have my
translate
book
that.
back?
Steps back and is clearly waiting to spring if you start sketching again.
That book is folded up, put away.
And unsprings.
Spot.
Scritch.
Louis. And then kind of looking at Louis, looking at Spot. I'm undecided whether or not Spot should come with us or Spot should stay here with your family, just in case.
If you have a skitter thing problem, Spot is probably going to be a snack.
Yeah, that was my thought too. Spot, can you keep an eye on the kids?
I go sleep on feet again. And
Thank
boing
you.
into the house.
Last few scritches as Spot turns to bounce away.
But does bounce because knows that we're burning night here.
Yeah, let's get a move on.
Okay.
Onward, muffin.
And on into town, which again takes you about 10 minutes because now you're on horseback or muffin back. I'm assuming you're tying up the horses outside of town. Yeah, town is quiet. Really, really quiet. Even at nighttime, you're not used to this. Yeah, the residential areas where people keep their own, poultry, etc. The chickens aren't even doing the broody noises. So, can I have a perception check from you all as you get more into the town center proper? Ah, we finally have some good rolls.
19.
Mm-hmm.
That is a nat 1 on my part, and let's see. Muffin is a passive perception, so that's.
Muffin got a nat 20.
So yeah, that's the thing. You guys are that's a very good thing too, actually. As you guys are heading in the direction of the market, let's start putting some people in some places, shall we? You've tied up your horses, so who's taking the lead?
Jillian's looking to Reba.
Yeah, because of course Reba is the one who knows where you're going, so
All right.
we'll put Reba kind of there. And Jillian probably wants to stay kind of there.
Yep.
And Aloy probably pretty much next to her there, with Muffin clattering around here. And let's remind myself where a decent Louis would be. I've got an interesting bunch of, if it loads, thank you. No, that's gnomes. I don't want gnomes. There's too much white people. Or, potentially problematic depictions of what have you. Louis is going to take a
Roll
place.
20 tokens are really Yagwoody.
Well, currently we've got that'll do for a Louis, I think, and now into where I put. Yep. So yeah, Muffin starts booping at the top of his not quite lungs, and that's the only reason why you all notice when this thing. Let's see, how big is this thing supposed to be? Armor class medium. So yeah, spindly thing, which doesn't look all that big, but there's a whole lot of arms, and it's this low-slung, creeping horror that for some reason is able to stick to walls and was probably stuck to a wall and then leaped into, and it was apparently going to be leaping on one of you, probably Reba. But the booping distracted him and he landed on top of this cart instead, and you get this noise, which might or might not be speech. I know you hate it when I do that, but it's...
I hate it, but I hate it. You know what I mean? Like, I hate it, but I'm supposed to. So it's great for effect, but at the same time, don't.
I'm just confused by it.
Doing it. Just
yeah, I mean, it's apparently supposed to be speech, but it hurts. It's creepy. It's nah. And I would like you all to roll initiative, please. No, I should probably...
22.
All right, so...
16.
13.
Okay, so hang on. What's this thing's initiative?
Trying to...
Christ on a bike. Okay. Pen that works.
Ouch. Muffin rolling that one for initiative.
Well, they saved your asses, so it's probably just as well. Okay, so that's... Hang on, 15, 16, 17, 18. So, yeah, all right. Aloy, Louis, Jillian, Muffin. And... Okay. I'm going to be bouncing around between books here, guys, so bear with me. But I'll mostly be sticking with this one, which is kind of unfortunate because the somewhat house-ruled Starspawn Mangler goes first.
Ooh, Starspawn.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I've actually been wanting to fight for literal ages.
Well, I decided not to give you anything too difficult because you're only 3, well, 4, but, you know, okay, so, who's he gonna go for? He's gonna go for Reba, so... Yeah, your AC is lower than 21, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I
15.
think all of ours are.
Right. I forgot. That's Flurry of Claws. So that hits. That misses. That misses. What is your AC?
15.
That hits. So that's 2. That hits. And that definitely hits, but at least you have no nat 20. So what's its damage? Oh, Christ. Okay, so that's... one at a time, so 6, 14, 25, 37 points of slashing damage. And since you haven't taken a turn yet, and it did technically have advantage, so yeah, I mean, didn't need it. That didn't help. So that's also... well, that's per hit too. So you got the 35, right? Because there's more to keep track of now.
37.
37, sorry. 8. 9, 10, 13, 21, and 25 points of psychic damage.
And she's down. 100% down. That was all my hit points. She is now immediately unconscious. Have fun, guys.
Well, you've got options. And actually, because that's Reba's turn, make me a death saving throw. Although that would have meant that it was going to move blink there.
A nat 20.
Ooh.
That just saved what?
So yeah, I've actually reread the rules of this. That means you now have 1 hit point. 1.
Stabilized at 1 HP and awake again and just ow.
Oh yeah, so much ow. Your head, and the first time you ever tried the liquor that your dad's tribe makes, is it went down like lighter fluid, but it was a big deal ceremony, and you were technically too young, but you had a few too many, and the next day your head was, that feeling, that rotted tooth feeling in your skull. That is what you're having right now, but you are alive and conscious. You kind of don't want to be, but you are. But no, that's your whole turn.
Okay, so I can't move.
Nope. You cannot
All right,
move.
then.
You
All right.
that's your action, that's your movement, that's your everything.
That's what I wanted to check. Okay, then carry on.
Yeah, your death saving throw is your whole turn. Aloy, you've just seen this thing drop Reba. She seems to be conscious, but she's bleeding a lot.
Oh, that is every kind of nope. Locking in gauntlet over into where I have it input on the handle of my thunder cannon, pointing the thunder cannon and going for full fire beam, because I never actually switched it back to whatever the other, to the just the blast wave mode.
Okay.
Right,
That
17.
just hits. Roll damage.
8 piercing, 9 fire. And I'm going to channel one of my arcane jolts. So that's 1 off my counter.
Okay.
As a healing beam
Okay.
into Reba, so the thing just crackles, and then the Jay's energy just
Yep.
flaps into Reba sideways.
Yep. 2d6. I don't remember if I made you a clicky button for the heal. If I didn't, I should.
It's no big deal. It's always going to be a relatively small one, so I can just pop that.
I have 4.
Okay, here's where things start getting interesting. How are we gonna do this? Well, Louis is going to say, this bonus action is going to say something in French Creole, so that's going to be healing word, which I always need to look up. I should get actually used to this, but and yeah, he's going to be doing that at 4th level, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4d4. You know how my dice normally work?
Mm-hmm.
Take 16 HP. They all rolled 4s. That's his bonus action.
Thank you, D4s.
And let's do a thing here. Yeah, that's gonna do it. So that's... So that's 1d10. So that's 9 fire damage on this thing as he flicks a card out of his, apparently out of his sleeve. It catches light as he flings it at this thing and screaming ow. And he's also going to move so that he is on top of this rooftop. At the very least, he can be here, and if it decides it doesn't like him, it's climbing up. Jillian!
Jillian beholds with a shot at advantage, and then branding smite.
Okay. Hang on. Let me just double check a thing. So that's it has to make a... Okay, but spell save DC 14. Oh, because that's for making it visible. But that's also extra radiant damage, so... But it doesn't say what it has to roll for what it's... What the stat is. Probably Dex. It's usually Dex. We'll go with Dex. Yeah, no, so that's half the radiant damage. So that's fine. And still roll damage, and we'll half the radiant. So that's 14, 17. Fine. So that's... maths. So much maths. That's 12, 14, 17. So that's 7. Okay. Right. Yes. And I take it bonus action was involved there somewhere.
Yep.
Yep.
And then she shoots again.
Okay. Roll damage.
There we go.
21, 25, 32. Ow, yeah, this thing is hurting. So that's 20. Yeah, okay, there we go. Muffin.
Is it on the wall or near the wall?
No, no, that's where Louis is. This thing is here. It's now
Yeah, I know. This thing. Is it on the wall or near a wall?
It's a cart.
Yeah, that's a cart.
That's a cart?
It's on a cart support.
Okay, Muffin can't manage a full. Okay, Muffin might be able to manage a charge if.
Because I mean,
I need straight lines, which means it needs 20 feet of straight movement.
which it's not going to get because even if Aloy and this thing, if Muffin moves here, it's going to trample Reba. Reba's in no position to move.
I'm trying to figure out where would Muffin need to reposition to get a straight line. Would that make it?
Given the layout,
Muffin would have to get.
Yeah, and I mean, it'd probably be able to get there in one turn, but this thing looks like it's really badly hurting. So why do a loud and obnoxious charge rather than just, I mean, either let it, like, hit or just leave it back and let the non-mechanicals take care of it, because that's the problem. Muffin is loud. I mean, yeah, Jillian
Muffin's
is also
just gonna
loud.
get over here
Chunk, chunk, chunk. Okay.
and attempt to bonk.
Roll damage.
I think that's rolling damage.
That'd be strength. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Yeah, no, I see what it is. There it is. It runs off its own clicky.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's this thing is ow. This thing is made of ow, and it's really kind of pissed, and it's mostly pissed at Jillian. I need to roll a thing. Oh, come on. Okay, so this thing bypasses Reba for the moment. And it can do that without making an attack of opportunity, without gaining an attack of opportunity, because this thing is an asshole. Okay, so now it's time for its version of Flurry of Blows, because it gets 6. Yeah, sorry, what is your AC? Just make sure I know.
15.
Yeah, that's gonna hit. That's gonna hit. That's not. That's gonna hit. That's gonna hit. And that's a nat 20! So that's 5 and 1's a crit. So, okay. And since you haven't been injured, you also get the bonus psychic damage! Oh, fuck. Yeah, okay. So let's start with the... that's 1d8 plus 4, and I need to do this one at a time because of the plus 4, so 9.
Right back, 15 seconds.
21. 31. 42. 49. Now it's time for the psychic damage. I hope you're keeping track of this because I'm not great with that. So 7, 16, 26, 29, 36 psychic damage.
Okay. Jillian is down.
Yeah, this does not surprise me. Reba, you're conscious, which is better than Jillian's doing right now.
Okay. I do have one quick question. The spirit totem, is that just summoning the spirit? I don't have to concentrate to do that?
I
Because
think we
it doesn't
had
say.
I think we had decided that you did, but
Okay.
let me say this. This thing is so badly wounded.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you're wise. Sometimes not fancy is the best way to go.
Yeah.
Also, you're
All right.
kind of pissed.
Yeah. Okay. In which case, I'm going to change my. I'm going to do instead. She points at it, says something in a language nobody here understands, except maybe Louis. But
What
there's a
is
little bit
it?
of. It's whatever word she uses to invoke Hunter's Mark,
Okay.
and she's gonna freaking swing at this sucker.
Okay. So we have the hunter's mark, so
Yep,
go forth.
that's a 6.
Yeah, no.
Okay, and then
You don't
bonus
have.
action.
Yeah, you have a bonus action.
Not well. I mean, there are things I could do as a bonus action, but none of them would do me any good. So I am, and if I move, it gets an attack of opportunity, and that would probably wipe me out. So
Well, one d8 plus 4.
okay, in which case I'm going to back up one spot to there.
Okay, so let me see if it actually hits you first. It does not hit you anyway.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, then that's my turn.
Aloy, this thing has taken down Jillian. Your response. It is very, very badly wounded. Just to let you know.
Cannon comes up. Cannon shoots fire beam.
Over Jillian's prone body, which is great.
Yep, because if Jillian had still been standing, it would have put on Jillian's shoulder and fired.
Nope.
Right, that's if I recall, I had a second attack.
I
Don't recall if that's still a
You
thing.
did, but you didn't use it last time, so.
Just gonna fire
Incidentally,
again.
are you going
Same.
to do the gauntlet thing? Because you do have an unconscious.
I can only do the gauntlet thing if I hit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just asking if you were going to do it if you hit. Because you announced you were going to try last time.
Oh, yeah. I'm basically gonna apply an arcane jolt. It's one of those things where I can apply it after.
Yeah, no, I know. I just wanted to know from my perspective, just because you were away when Nom said that Jillian was down, so I wanted to clarify. That's all. This was not an accusation or saying you were doing anything wrong. This was just me because you role played it last time and then now you haven't. So
Yeah, I completely understand. I've still got it locked into the jolt
Okay.
function, and I've just still had it from previous go around.
Okay, thought so. Wanted to make sure. Second attack.
Yeah, I completely understand.
Yep.
Our
Second
got
attack. That hits. Roll damage. And how do you want to do this? This is the second time in 2 weeks. It's great.
Just fire.
Yeah, basically she sets this thing on fire. And are you gonna roll for Jillian's arcane jolt?
Yep, I'm gonna jolt Jillian for 2 because the energy is just gonna bleed downwards like little sparkles that touch Jillian.
So
Jillian wakes up and there's just magical sparkles coming off of a gauntlet, and Aloy's still pulling the trigger repeatedly.
and also smoke. That God, this thing smells awful when it burns. So Jillian regains consciousness too.
Jillian.
Magical sparkles
Rolls
and yeah. I think it's dead share.
Good. And at that point, I'm going to finger off trigger, still locked in, just gun up.
Right. Let's
We
get.
need to
Yeah.
keep
Let's
moving.
Let's get
No,
Jillian.
no. Okay, hang on, dude. Just one moment. And does speak another word, and this time this is one that I don't have. Oh no. This is when y'all are really lucky I do homebrew for this kind of shit. Everyone who can see within range, spellcasting modifier is so. That's nice. 8, 9, 10, 11. Everybody who has been injured gets 11 hit points back.
Jillian does 15 points of lay on hands on herself.
Well, here's another reason that we're not going to be trying to take on the town tonight, huh?
Nope. No.
And Jillian, and she just whispers another word to do her own healing word on Jillian. Let's see, where's the clicky for that? There it is. Just at regular. Actually, it's going to ask me, right? Ah, good. Okay. At 4th level. I rolled a nat 1. That's 9 more to you. I rolled a nat 1 on my healing. Oh, well.
It's something.
Oh, incidentally, you should have Reba should have another 4 because I forgot to add my spell cast modifier for yours that time, so.
Okay.
Thank you kindly.
Let's get this done quick, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And are we going to do a stealthy thing?
Yes. Hopefully.
Hang on before we continue on. And she does a wide move and Pass Without Trace is cast.
Okay. Louis does take the time to drag the thing and kick it under the cart. I don't know if I can do anything about the scorch marks on the road, but
It's dark.
for now.
Mm.
I figure why not make things a little tidier if I can. Might spare us some issues later on. But yeah, the Pass Without Trace is cast. If y'all would kindly roll stealth, and Louis just vanishes because that was a
2 nat 20s for stealth.
And yeah, the Pass Without Trace is saving Jillian, who's limping at this point because that was
Even
unfortunate.
Muffin got an 18.
Which is 28 for her, and yeah, Louis more or less vanishes. Although the only reason you can tell the only reason any of you can tell he's there is that he's giving Jillian a shoulder to lean on. And get to the jail building without incident. How are you going to attempt to get in?
Jillian, just to peek around the corner towards the front door.
Well, nobody's standing guard outside.
She looks for a window to peek. A window towards the front side.
There's a window. It's a plate glass affair. There doesn't seem to be any lights on inside.
And she puts her ear to the window to listen.
Not hearing anything. I don't think so anyway. Roll me a perception check just to be on the safe side. Yeah, definitely not hearing anything. There's still the whole psychic damage that you just took.
So, question, where's the cell? Because we can just go in from the outside if we have... It'll be a little bit noisy, and Muffin can bust walls down.
All right.
I actually, Aloy intelligent, Reba wise, coming at this from the same direction. Busting in a wall might do damage to the prisoner inside, but chaining a chain between Muffin and the cell bars.
Pull rather than push. Aloy.
Right, yeah, pull, considering we don't want to cause any... Yep. We're gonna need
Rope or chain, preferably chain.
You have chain.
muffin, canister,
Boop, chunk.
and I'm just pulling length out.
You would have it wound up. It's not.
Yep, it's wound. It's like yeah, pulling the.
Her cell is the cell that I saw her in is the one, and whichever side it was. I don't, that wasn't clear with the description.
It's the one. It's not the one on the corner. It's the one further in towards the middle of the building, and you can actually show them rather than tell them. And Louis is like, "I'm just gonna get upset if I'm there. I'll stay and keep an eye, make sure no one's coming."
Gotcha.
Okay. So yeah, then we walk around to the back, and I point out which window it is.
Yeah,
He's fixing.
That one.
He's still okay with stealth without trace, so that's fine.
Yeah, because the range is like 30 feet.
Yeah, and he's kind of tucked into a corner, sort of there, someplace. So even if it doesn't get him, he's still okay because his roll wasn't a total 19. So.
All right, I'm gonna start affixing chain around any point I can get it onto, as many as I can. If I need to separate segments, I'll do that.
Well, basically, what you can do is sort of braid the chain through the 3 bars because it's not a very wide window, and then hook that. So you're pulling from the 3 separate points.
Got it. Yeah, that's sort of what I was trying to get at.
And because I mean this is Muffin and this is a jail, I'm just going to. And you guys lucked out. For all you'd think, charging in and crunch would have been fairly noisy. It's more of a low creak. And the only real noise is the ping, ping, ping as the bars fall out of the chain with no further support and drag. Because basically, there wasn't a frame. It was just those 3 bars. So Muffin just kind of pulled and all 3 bars crumbled out of the concrete rather than having to worry about the whole frame of the window coming.
How much of the wall did that take with it?
Not that much, actually. The concrete is an interesting technology, and I mean, to be fair, there's probably more brick, and it's probably all more old. But again, mortar's another one of those sciences that, if you don't quite have the money or wherewithal, put it up against an average person, and it's fine. Put it up against Muffin, and that's something else again.
Crunk.
Is there a big enough hole for someone to get through?
Probably not. I mean, enough for Jillian if she squeezed. For Reba if she squeezed. Neither of you are in any condition for squeezing. Aloy could fit.
Gonna detach the thunder cannon, put that away, and put it away so I can hopefully fit through, and see if I can't make my attempt to get through with the chain so that I can have Muffin start pulling more of the wall out. If I can affix it to anything on the inside.
Why would you need to do that? Cassie is a child. She's smaller than you.
I didn't understand how much space there was and if I could get a kid out with me.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if she's alive and capable of being awake, you boost.
Got it. So, and I'm going to attempt to go.
Dex check, please.
Athletics, acrobatics, any preference?
Probably more athletics. You're not parkouring exactly.
Yeah, I'm just trying to squeeze. Ten.
It's awkward and it's uncoordinated, and you land with a bit of a thump.
Yep, that's what happens when I use strength versus a dex.
Yeah, that's fair enough, but it might have been better if you'd had one of them help you, or in point of fact, just used Muffin as a step stool. But we didn't do that, so that's okay.
We didn't think of that in the moment. Hindsight's 2020.
Yes.
Anyhow,
Yes, you are in a smallish cell, and to your immediate left is a cot with a small human shape, probably human shape, curled up lump shape. Possibly has squeezed in a little tighter on itself.
carefully make my way over.
Well, you don't have to. It's a small cell. It's kind of right there.
Like, hey, we're here to get you out of here.
Peek and very dark eyes kind of looking at you and going, no offense, ma'am, but wow, I didn't realize you were going to sound that much like a Yankee.
As I am.
I know, but I've never heard a Yankee accent before. It's kind of neat.
Oh, good to be your first introduction to one.
Okay, but what's some people are going to be real mad.
They can get as mad as they want. We're gonna get you as far away from here as fast as possible.
It means I get to see the mechanical mule.
Yep, he's actually the one that popped the window out.
I was wondering about that. At least the spindly thing is actually, I thought the spindly thing had stopped listening.
Oh, the spindly thing is currently smoldering under a cart somewhere.
You might want to kick some dirt on that, unless you want the cart on fire.
Sorry, blanking on name.
Louis?
I think Louis made sure that thing wasn't going to catch fire.
Papa's here?
Yep.
Why didn't you say so in the
He
first
helped make
place?
sure we could. He made sure we could sneak in.
There's a tiny problem, though. And, shrugs off the blanket, and one of her feet has been chained fairly securely to a bolt on the wall that's kind of hidden by bed frame. It's okay, you've got the one person in there who can pick locks. What are you doing? Why are you making that face?
I'm gonna produce the my lockpicking tools and pop them open. I can get that off you.
Okay, wow, for a minute I thought you were going to have to call Papa.
Well, let's see about where this thing connects to what. How do I pry this open?
Thief stools. It's dark. It's your problem. It's dark and you haven't switched on your...
Yep, grab goggles down over face. Yeah, because I'm used to it because I have my glasses on, so I thought that was there.
Okay.
Sorry, needed to get my eyesight turned back on.
That's okay. Try again.
Well,
This lock is a lot more complicated than you think, and part of the reason that you're hesitant to do some of the fiddling with it is that when you're trying to turn the tumbler, you note that there is something else that might end up triggered if you don't do this very, very well.
Going to produce my wand of secrets.
Yeah, there's a. It's more of a mechanical trap than anything else, but if you don't handle this thing with the utmost care, it's going to poison her. Question, am I right in thinking Reba has enhance ability? And
Enhance ability and greater restoration.
yeah, but no, this would insta kill.
Okay. Yeah, I do have an enhance ability.
And Aloy knows that?
Yep. I'm going to hang on. Fold up the tools for a second.
Please
Go back into the
hurry.
videos. Reba, I need a boost.
Right.
Actually, can you give me a wisdom check to make sure you actually understand what that means?
Sure. Just a second. I get back to that page. Wisdom. There it is. 19.
It takes you a minute to translate to Aloy, but you need to ask about that later. Why she needs it, but you're pretty. You A, know what she wants from you, and B, know it isn't the time to ask why she didn't have time to use her words.
All right. Reba would know what to do.
Cat's grace.
It is cat. Okay, thank you. Out of character, I wasn't sure. So yeah, she says a couple of words that mean literally cat's grace in her father's language.
Yeah,
I'm just holding out the arm with one arm with the thieves'
yeah,
tools.
because it's a contact.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, does that.
Do either of you two want to make me a perception check?
Sure.
Yes. Maybe not.
You want to, you just can't. No, not Aloy. Aloy's busy, so yeah, no, none of you are paying any attention to other than what the fuck is going on in there. Actually, roll from Muffin.
Muffin perception. Just making sure I don't have a clicky button or anything. 13 passive perception, by the way, if that helps anything.
Not overly. And it's even worse. So yeah,
11.
no, you guys are more just. You're more stressed about. Can you just get this done before we actually hear something?
Sorry, cat's grace. I
Dex.
don't recall what.
Dex
No.
with advantage.
I'm asking, is it advantage on Dex?
Yes, it's advantage on Dex. Funnily enough, it's exactly what Alice A cast on Hazel to pick a lock once. You come so very, very close, and the only reason you don't wind up poisoning her is because you managed to get it off. You actually see, you managed to get it off just ahead of the needle so it never touches skin. Comes very, very close, but never touches skin.
I hate these people, and I kind of want to see what this would do to the doctor.
He's not human. It wouldn't matter.
Screw him and
the Rattlesnakes are immune to their own venom, so is just about everything else.
Well, let's get you out the window.
Yeah, she needs the help. They have not been feeding her overly well. There's some chafing on that ankle. And once you get out into somewhat less uncertain light, and to be fair, Aloy notices with the night vision goggles, now that she's out of the blankets, there's a lot of bruises. And you can start seeing things like on the backs of her legs. There's some, looks like willow switch. They've been, I mean, compared to what they could have been, they've been largely gentle, but one of those, Louis is gonna flip his shit.
Mm-hmm. I just want to get the mission objective
Yep.
sorted.
And
over.
quickly, because we're a little past time now, but I want to get this part done. So, because there's nobody to boost Aloy, can Aloy give me an athletics check, please?
Well, here's hoping I don't crit throw.
You had to say it.
You didn't quite crit fail. You're too angry and you're too busy trying to keep the needle, and you can't boost yourself up without poking yourself with it right now, and you don't know what pouch to put it in, because if you put it in a pouch it might contaminate something, or you might reach in and stick yourself with it and you don't have your collecting vials because Muffin is out there with them, and etc etc etc. Try again. Drop the
It's gonna
fucking
keep doing this to me.
drop the fucking needle.
Aloy, what's going on in there?
Give me
Hurry
a second.
up.
I'm just gonna drop the thing.
Okay, one more time. And at that point, it's pure rage and frustration that boosts you up and out and pretty much directly onto Muffin. Yippee, punk. Haven't you had enough trouble taking things from places like this?
I am going to kill that guy. I'm going to
Let's
kill him,
get
and then I'm
moving.
going to shoot what's left of him until there's nothing left.
And
Although
Cassie actually reaches, because she's on Muffin by this point, because she's no condition to walk anymore. Actually reaches and hand over Aloy's mouth. You have to hush. They're gonna come soon. We have to go.
Now.
The sermon's nearly over.
Muffin, let's move. And get off of Muffin.
Well, no, because you can ride double. Cassie's light,
Yeah.
and you're not exactly large, so yeah. You would have had to drop Pass Without Trace, so... Can y'all make me another stealth roll, please?
19.
Okay.
Oof.
Yeah, you guys are pretty much okay. It's a little difficult to see Louis right up until you guys ride past. Well, Aloy and Cassie on Muffin ride past, and you two walk to where you thought you last saw him, and then sort of from the roof you wind up hearing, I'm gonna check on you later. Yeah, Cassie, for now I'm gonna stick to the rooftops. We get to the horses, we get out. It looks like people are moving back in from the church. And with moderately decent stealth rolls ish, because Muffin is getting kind of loud. Mostly because
Big dog noises.
he's trying to boop out a comforting little tune for Cassie. And cannot seem to be dissuaded from that course of action. He seems to think that everybody needs some love right now. But
Muffin do what Muffin do.
yep, and but thankfully, at least in part, because there are the people who are in town are currently just coming back from their evening congregation creepiness, and you probably don't really want to see them immediately after that. You head out to the spot where you hid your horses, and ride hell for leather back for the farmstead. And when we come back next week, we will deal with reunions and game plans and all the other bits and pieces. But well done, guys. I'm sorry for the... Actually, no, I'm not, because, combat will happen. But it was just unfortunate. It's a recharge like a dragon's breath from 4 to 6. And the first roll I got a 4. So...
Yep, shit happens. That's just how those things roll.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dice
no,
for a reason.
that was pretty awesome. Hey, I rolled a nat 20 on my death save. That's pretty badass.
Yeah. You at least you appreciated it more than the time that Ben did the same thing. But and either way,
Holy shit, you're alive.
yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, you're always alive when you're unconscious. It just means you're conscious again, and you're hurting so bad you probably don't want to be.
The ancestors were like,
Everything.
not yet.
Yeah, the ancestors were like, no, you're supposed to be stalking the crossroads, not stalking, not walking.
Exactly. There you go.
Anyway, I will see y'all
Anyway.
next week.